So what is going on, guys? Today I want to talk about a book called To Gaze Upon Wicked Gods by Molly X. Chang. Now, the publication of this book had a lot of controversy and drama surrounding it. Nothing that the actual author did or publisher did, but I feel like that's important to understanding the narrative behind this book. And the narrative behind this book, especially on BookTube, has been absolutely insane. It's been a roller coaster ride of why people have been interested in this book, why people are talking about it, and I feel like not always the right reason. So I'm going to break down what I mean by that. But first, we're going to talk about the publication of this book. So most of you just seeing these two pictures probably know what I'm going to talk about. But for those of you not in the know, basically this lady, this absolute psycho witch, wrote this book, and instead of focusing on promoting this book, she decided that she was just going to sabotage other books releasing around the same time so her book would look better. Very smart, I know. So what she decided to do was make a bunch of fake Goodreads accounts and one star bomb the other books coming out around the same time as Crown of Starlight debuted. Now obviously this did not work, and To Gaze Upon Wicked Gods was one of the books that was caught in the crossfire of this review bombing. So after that controversy kind of came and went, there was a collective effort from people to promote books that were caught in that controversy, and To Gaze Upon Wicked Gods was one of those books. So To Gaze Upon Wicked Gods was added to a lot of people's TBR, most anticipated, books of the year, of the summer, whatever. So the first time I heard anything actually substantive about To Gaze Upon Wicked Gods, things about its characters and its setting and its writing, was in these reading recap kind of videos. And it seemed that the common consensus was that it was not the best book ever written. And I figured once that was, once the verdict was out on that people that were going to be into this book were going to find it and read it and like it, and people that were not going to like it would just kind of forget about it and life would go on. So I was right for a while. It was radio silence on To Gaze Upon Wicked Gods. No one was really talking about this book for a few months. And then out of nowhere, it became the centerpiece for a discussion about colonizer romance. Now, I understand exactly why this trend happened. But with that being said, I still think these are some of my least favorite videos from all the creators that made them. And I'm going to explain why. So for those of you that don't know what a colonizer romance is, it's kind of in the name, but I'm going to spell it out for you. So a colonizer romance is when there's a relationship between two characters, and one of them is part of a race or a country or a faction that is there to commit human rights violations against the other race, faction, or country. So Pocahontas is a great example of this. Another example would be if you were to ship in a fan fiction of Avatar: The Last Airbender, Zuko and Katara, that would be considered a colonizer romance. Now, most instances of a colonizer romance exist in fan fictions, and I personally think that they should stay that way. But when it comes to colonizer romance or themes in a book that are problematic, I think it is important to talk about these things, and especially when the problematic elements or their problematic nature are lost on the author, when they are going over the heads of the audience or most of the audience, that is important to talk about. But with To Gaze Upon Wicked Gods, and I'm not saying this to be mean, but I feel like there was not a large enough organically grown fan base behind this book that are justifying this relationship or these tropes for this conversation around it to make sense, for everyone to be making a video about this colonizer romance. Like, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this book has thousands of defenders and I'm just not seeing it. But I feel like there's a huge difference between pointing out problematic themes in a book like To Gaze Upon Wicked Gods versus calling out problematic themes in, let's say, like a Colleen Hoover book. Now, I know they're very different genres, alright, but Colleen Hoover, say what you will about her, but her books did have an organic, natural growth in their fan base and their popularity. Their popularity and their controversy are one and the same. With To Gaze Upon Wicked Gods, its notoriety in the book community has a lot to do with the controversy and the drama that the author had nothing to do with, and then a lot of content creators propping it up, talking about it, getting it trending, and then later on criticizing it and benefiting from its notoriety. I'm not making this video to call out any creators in, particularly. And anyone who I have screenshots of, I actually really like their videos. I've watched a few of them. They're really good. But I just really did not like this book as a topic. Like, no hate on this book, no hate on the author, no hate on the audience. But most of the people that are fans of To Gaze Upon Wicked Gods, like most of the 5 and 4-star reviews that I found, all mentioned that they thought the cover was really pretty and how it has enemies to lovers and tropes that they like. Like, that's the audience of this book. Like, what are we doing dissecting it? Like, is there really that many people that hold this book to such high regard that it's worth having every person, like every content creator, making a video about a colonizer romance, this and all this stuff? And I think it seems a little bit disingenuous for people to say that this book was a disappointment or a flop when you consider how it became so prominent and how it became so well known. Like, I think it kind of struck the lottery, but it was just this person's first book. Like, that's what's gonna happen. So all in all, I really made this video because the more I thought about this Kate Crane controversy and how To Gaze Upon the Wicked Gods was the, I think the most popular one out of that review bombing scandal. I think it got the most mainstream discussion. I couldn't help but sort of feel bad for the author. And maybe my sympathy is not needed. Maybe it's misplaced. But I feel like the review bombing controversy was probably not super fun to deal with. And then the book community deciding to support you was, probably a sigh of relief, probably a pretty cool thing. But then it was kind of a little bit backhanded, wasn't it? Because I think all it did was get her book into the hands of more people that were going to like it. But now more people that were never going to like it know about it and talk about it and profit from talking about it. So it's just, I don't know, like as an author myself, just trying to see from her perspective, I can't imagine having my first book under such a big microscope would have been great for my growth as an author, my growth as an artist, and just like my confidence in my skills. I can't imagine. And also her next book is going to be under a similar microscope, none of which she particularly asked for. So I hope she can make the best of it. All this is just to say that I think a book becoming that thing to talk about in the YouTube sphere hits a little bit different when it's a really, really popular book, like a Sarah J. Maas book or whatever, or a Fourth Wing that has gotten super popular. People really love it despite any criticism they might have for it. People criticizing that can be kind of fun. All right, the author probably does not give a shit. They're rolling in money, who cares? Or making fun of a Shadversity or a CJ Piper where they're kind of a shitty person. They made a shitty art thing. And it's fun to make fun of that shitty art thing. That can be a great time. No one is getting hurt in there that doesn't deserve it. Anyway, basically what I'm trying to say is that this is a marketing trick that I would probably not wish on my worst enemy. And trying to see it from her perspective, I feel like this would be a pretty shitty way to start your writing career. So I hope maybe she sees the silver lining behind it, I guess. I don't know. I don't know what point I'm trying to make with this. It just kind of seems, it just making me feel a little icky. I don't really want to talk about this. This one isn't fun. All right, YouTube, you kind of missed with this one, is all I'm trying to say. I enjoy that. Like, I definitely am a hater. I do enjoy hating. There's nothing I love more than finding a video about a book that I was never going to read that's an hour long and is just tearing it a new one. That's my favorite kind of video. Like, I would be a huge hypocrite if I didn't say that. But even this is kind of low-hanging fruit for me. Even this kind of feels like putting a ball on a tee and then acting like you hit a home run.